Hi, it's Aloe Fog here on a dank and grey and surprisingly mild day in the winter of 2021. I've been out walking the dog and she's brought me to the beach. So, while she's off paddling in the Irish Sea, I thought I'd tell you about a little project I've got in mind for this YouTube channel. But before I do that, I just want to add a little health warning. This is quite a departure for me. I've never done anything like this before, you know, sitting here talking to a camera. I usually just do videos of me sitting on the settee, playing guitar and singing, or I put pretty pictures over the top of my electronic music compositions. So this is totally new. At this point, if YouTube's behaving, a little card should be appearing up here, and you can click that if you want to listen to some of that music. Right, we've got that out of the way. Let's get back to the beach and the rest of the intro. Over the past few weeks, I've been building myself a little home studio, hesitate to call it that. I'm having to build it in one of the worst rooms you could imagine. And I thought I'd do a little series for YouTube on how I'm getting on with that. If that piques your interest, why not click that little subscribe button and ding that bell thingy, and then you'll get notified when the next episode rolls along. But for now, let's get on with episode 1. And this one's about the room and all the problems that it's got. Before I show you the room, I better explain how I'm planning to use it. First off, I'm strictly an amateur musician stroke composer. I've got no desires at all for this to become anything more than an enjoyable hobby. For that reason, I'm not prepared to throw huge amounts of money at it. And also, this room is just for me to use. I won't be recording and mixing for anybody else. Now, ideally, I'd like to use the room for 3 purposes. First off, for composing and producing electronic music in the box. Secondly, to record guitar and vocals. And thirdly, for mixing. But I've got serious doubts about the suitability of this space for recording, for reasons which are going to become apparent. So I'm focusing mainly on using the room for composing, producing and mixing. Right, it's time to show you this unsuitable room of mine, and then I'll explain what's wrong with it. Okay, here we go. As you can see from the floor plan, this won't take long. Now, this room is what our estate agent laughably described as a breakfast room. What it really is a corridor that's been knocked into a coalhouse. But hey, I suppose breakfast room sounds better in a brochure. But in 25 years, I've never had breakfast out here. There are quite a few problems with this little room. The first of which is, it's tiny. It's also almost square, and that's not good news acoustically speaking. And also, I won't be able to get the speakers far enough away from the walls or the corners. But worse still, behind this door is the utility room. In it are freezers, a washing machine, a tumble dryer and a central heating boiler. So, plenty potential for extraneous noise there then. Also adjacent is the conservatory. You should hear the noise the rain makes on the roof. Second thoughts, you can't, because then I'd have to stop filming. It gets hot in summer, cold in winter, and there's not much insulation provided by the single glazed door and window. Next, we got a damn leak. We had a roofer in last summer to fix that, allegedly. So until spring rolls round and I can get a new roofer in, I won't be able to put any acoustic treatment on that part of the roof. And finally, we got an angled roof over the old coal house. I've left this till last because I'm really not sure whether this is a problem or an advantage in terms of acoustic reflections. If you know, please leave a comment. Given this room is obviously far from ideal, and I did warn you, then why am I using it? Come to think of it, why am I doing this at all? Well, I'm doing it because for the 5 years that I've been messing around with recording and mixing, I've had nowhere permanent to set up my gear. Which means I never bothered to get any monitors, and I've had to mix on headphones the whole time. I found early on this is far from ideal for me. The number of trips to the car to check disappointing mixers were numerous and depressing, and I really wanted a little space where I could leave all the gear set up the whole time. But why this room? Because it's the only one available, simple as that. My wife, dog and I live in a bijou bungalow, and my wife insists on being allowed to occupy at least some of our home. So this is what we're working with. It's a case of take it or leave it. I'm not going to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, I know that, but I am aiming at some improvement. As I mentioned, finances are also a factor, and building these things is never going to be cheap. I've got to walk a line between wasting money on cheap rubbish and spending lots of dosh on things that will only give me a marginal improvement in this far from ideal room. Sow's ear, remember? So, that's the room done with. Over the next episodes, I'll cover the gear I'm using and tackle the thorny and baffling subject of acoustic treatment, about which everybody seems to have a different and firmly held opinion. Next up, though, is likely to be a review of the flat-pack desk I bought from Thomann in Germany, about how easily it goes together and how I'm getting on with it. Well, that's it for this episode then. Thanks for watching. Ta-da!